Hey now, my name is Nick, this is Board Game Brawl, and it is time for our first real episode of Q&A. You give me questions, I give you answers, and I try my absolute best not to offend anyone, but I make no promises. First off, I am so thrilled with the response that I got to this. Got a lot of really great questions. I'm so sorry that I don't have time to answer all of them. I've only picked a few that I really wanted to talk about this week, but do not give up, do not despair. There is a chance I will read your questions in the future. I'm saving all of them, and in the meantime, if you want to ask more questions, please do so. I need all the questions I can get. You can comment down in the YouTube comments field. You can message me on Facebook. You can comment on the Facebook page, on Twitter. You can send me a direct email at boardgamebrawl@gmail.com. Our Twitter is @boardgamebrawl. However you want to do it, give your questions to me. I would love to read them on the air at a future date. And I will not get over the fact of saying on the air, which just makes me sound way more professional than I am. Anyways, you may have also noticed in the title for this episode that I said that we're going to have a contest, and indeed we are. It's our very first contest here at Board Game Brawl, and it is for a brand new sealed Kickstarter edition of Walkstar, which is an excellent game I just reviewed, so you can check that out. But I'm not going to give you the details till the end of the episode. Don't you hate that? So you have to sit through me reading some of my favorite questions from last week. So without further ado, let's get to it. So, Matt Moylan asks, what are your thoughts on Kickstarter exclusive components that offer unique gameplay? This is really interesting because, I'm the Kickstarter update guy, so I have to always comment when there's something that's really either bugging me or that I think is cool about Kickstarter. And in this case, I would say that these the exclusives bug me more than I think they're a good thing, for sure. I mean, if it was a case of just offering components that are, let's say, reskinned miniatures, or like different miniature poses, but they're the same miniatures you might get in the game, or just, artwork, boards with different artwork, things like that. I mean, or just even all the components being just a little more tricked out, but still offering the same gameplay experience, well, that's fine. I mean, I don't think that's a huge deal. I mean, you're being an early adopter, that's kind of the reward that you get, or even having a deep discount on all of this stuff. Again, I think that's the reward you should get for being an early adopter. But offering gameplay components and, whether it's miniatures or whether it's actual new boards and expansions that are completely exclusive that no one else is going to be able to get unless they pay scalper prices on eBay, that's a little weird. I mean, I just played Arcadia Quest, and it's awesome. Fantastic game. I just got it in the mail, did an unboxing, played it like 3 times in a row, so I should be having my review coming up soon. But they did the same thing. This is a cool mini or not. Not only did they do miniatures, which were exclusive, which they always do, and you might, there are miniatures that have different abilities, but you're like, okay, that's not a big deal. But then they had a whole expansion pack that is exclusive to the campaign. That's really weird. So, I think I'm against them. And I think the evidence that people are like, you have to have exclusives in order to, make your campaign viable. Well, I believe that the campaigns of Stonemaier Games with Euphoria, and I'm blanking at the moment. But anyway, yeah, Euphoria for sure, and Viticulture and Tuscany. And then also, more than that, Forgotten King from Super Dungeon Explorer and Soda Pop Miniatures. Those campaigns prove you can make a ton of money and have everything be available eventually. You just give people a little discount. So I'm really against content exclusives for sure. Michelle Langford asks, what are your top 10 games? Michelle, you heard it here first. Top 100 games list before the end of the year. I'm actually really excited about it. I've kind of been working on it in the back of my head, and I have a cool idea that I am totally stealing from one of the Depeche Mode Greatest Hits albums. That's where most of my good ideas come from. But I'm really excited about it. Yeah, it's probably going to be, I'm hoping to get it maybe done in November. I'm trying to wait for Vassal to complete all of his top 100 lists, so sometime after he completes the 100 list for his pool boy and the guy that does his taxes, you can expect to see my top 100 list. I have a couple of anime-themed ones here, or Japanese-themed ones, I guess I should say. Nathaniel Robinson says, is your interest in Japanese games only an extension of your interest in manga and presumably anime? Have you learned something about Japanese culture through gaming? That's really interesting because even in anime and manga, how much did I really learn about Japanese culture? There's so many parodies and stereotypes and tropes of anime that I don't know what's real and part of Japanese culture anyways. And through gaming, I'm still looking for the game. This is going to lead right into the next question. I'm still looking for the game that really gives me a taste of real Japanese culture. I think that some of the smaller games that especially Japan Brand is publishing gives you more of a taste of that than other games because a lot of them being Euro-style games have to do with everyday life in Japan, like fishing and building or making a kimono. I can't remember the name of that game right now, but it's just coming out at Essen this year. Those kind of things are probably going to give you more of an insight into Japanese culture, whereas a game like Dungeon Guilds or even Tragedy Looper, maybe not so much. It just happens to have anime-style artwork. But I would like to think that over the years of experience, all these different areas of culture coming out of Japan, that I've learned a little something, that I might at least be able to relate to people from over there on a cultural, pop culture level. I don't know, maybe not. I'd like to think that I would. But I would say that, to answer the first part of your question, yes. I mean, there's a lot of games that I probably give more of a pass to, that I'm more inclined to try, just because they have an anime-style theme to them. But I've had pretty good luck. I mean, there's games like Lupin the Third that I'm like, oh, I'm so excited for it, and they end up being kind of a dud. But then there's games like Tanto Quarry, which I think are fantastic as a game. Wouldn't even matter what the theme is. So, it's give and take, but I do think that they feed off of each other. So going off of that, Ryan Brand asks, what's your favorite anime? What anime would you want to see a board game made out of, and what are your top 10 anime-themed games? That's a lot, so I'm not going to answer totally all of that. But I would say that my favorite anime for a series, I think it's got to be Hunter x Hunter. I love the reboot. I've read all the manga. I think that it's stumbled a lot in the last story arc with the Ant arc, and where it's going now, I'm really hesitant about it, but when it was good, it was phenomenal. I mean, it was fantastic. I loved it. There were so many cool things going on there. They used some of the tropes of shonen anime, but they put a completely different spin on it. The characters are fantastic, so it's still my favorite. As far as movies, like one-shot things, I'm going to have to go with Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. There's probably other Miyazaki movies that are better directed, look better, that probably have better characters, and just all around are a nicer package. But Nausicaa is the one that I have the fondest memories of. I watched it when it was a horribly chopped, torn apart version called Warriors of the Wind that was released to VHS back in the late 80s. So I just have really fond memories of it, and I think it's a fantastic story. I love the characters. It'll always be my favorite. As far as anime as a board game, that's really tough, because what I like about anime are the characters. I'm not sure that every anime would make a great board game. You'd just be slapping a theme onto it. But Attack on Titan would be an obvious one, because I think you could make a really cool cooperative game out of that, of working together to take down a Titan, and being incredibly difficult to do. Record of Lodoss War, you could do a dungeon crawling game based on that. That might be a lot of fun. So things in that area, things that you could just kind of have a more general scope to it instead of focusing on the characters, those would probably work the best. And as far as top 10 anime-themed games, I don't know. There's not a lot. And there's a lot of them are just artwork as far as the theme goes. But Tragedy Looper is fantastic. Awakon, which I just reviewed recently, is really, really good. Same designer. Dungeon Guilds, although that could be any artwork. That's what I'm trying to say. So, I don't know. But, I was wondering maybe eventually I would do a little off-kilter segment called, not board games. Put it in big capped letters on the title, not board games, and talk about video games, talk about anime, talk about books, whatever, TV shows, whatever it might be. I don't know. Does that interest anybody? I don't know if that would be a good thing or not, but I would clearly mark it so that people that have no interest in it could just completely skip it. So if I ever did that, I'd probably talk more about anime. And the last one, I think this is the most interesting one. By the way, this segment's gone way over time, but Penguin Claptrap asks, has gaming ever hurt or helped your love life? This is a dangerous question. Well, here's what I would say. Since I started my gaming group and really been hardcore into gaming, I have met a lot of women who are also into gaming through the group, through other people's groups, whatever it might be. And I've dated a few of them. So in that regard, it's really helped. Nothing's really stuck, so to speak. But I've had some luck in that regard because of gaming. I would say that there have been some women I've dated since I've gotten hardcore into gaming who I didn't meet through gaming, who were really cool and knew I was into gaming, then come to my apartment and see the tremendous amount of games that I have and how much time it takes up in my life, and we're probably a little put off by it. Not all the time. That didn't always happen. But yeah, so in that regard, it's probably hurt my love life. But I will say this, though, too. And that's that when I got into board gaming, the major reason for it was because just about a month earlier, I had just gotten out of a long-term relationship that really, really rocked my world for a lot of different reasons. But the main reason was that I suddenly came back to my apartment every day, and it was only me and my dog. and it was upsetting. I was used to having noise and someone else always being there with me, and it was very, very depressing for a while. So I wanted to start the group and my board gaming group, which I took over. I actually took over someone else's, but I would have started my own anyways. And it was a lot better. It really helped me out a lot, having people in the house and just helping me work through it. So in that regard, I would say that my lack of love life helped my board gaming. So it's a weird thing, but definitely there's been an impact going both ways. So those are the questions. I hope you found them interesting. Please keep them coming. Like I said, I love answering questions. Now, on to the contest. And how I want to do this, I want to try and keep it simple. I don't want to make people jump through too many hoops. Got my little note card here. So the first thing, let me talk about Walkstar for a bit. Fantastic game. I reviewed it last week. Awesome cooperative game. This is the Kickstarter edition, so it comes with stickers to put on the ingredient markers because the paint job was kind of messed up by Game Salute on those. So that's to fix those. And it also comes with an exclusive character card for Paige Turner, who is the character from Paperback, the designer's previous game, which is also awesome. I wish I could give that away too. So even if you don't like this game necessarily, you might want it for trade fodder to trade for some Euro game with a very serious and angry looking European man on the front. That's fine. I don't really care what you do with it, but you probably know someone in your group who would love to have it as well. So what I want you to do, first off, you have to go on Facebook and like our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/BoardGameBrawl. Like the page. If I don't see that you liked it, you're not eligible to win the contest. So that's my little way to get like bait onto Facebook. Then you have to email me at boardgamebrawl@gmail.com. Put in the subject line Walkstar Contest, and I'm gonna have you answer one question. The tables have turned. You're answering a question for me now. What is the name of my dog, my beagle? Okay, it's very simple. This one should be very easy because it's right on my channel. Everything that you would need to know would be on my channel, so that one should be easy. But that'll get you one entry in the contest. If you want 2 entries in the contest, what's the name of my other beagle, the one that no longer lives with me, but has shown up on the channel before? That one's going to take a little more digging. But either way, you're going to get an entry in the contest. You might just get 2 entries. BoardGameBrawl@gmail.com for a brand new sealed copy of the Kickstarter edition of Walkstar. Spread the word. And one last thing, I would put out another plea for extralife.org. Our gaming group is taking part in the 24-hour gaming marathon at the end of this month, October 25th, from 8 a.m. to 8 a.m. the next day. We would love to have your support. Either become a member of our team and try to raise money to meet our goal, or just donate to our campaign. I'm going to have links down in the comments section and maybe at the bottom of the video if YouTube lets me do it. Either way, please consider helping us out. So that has been our Q&A. Remember the Walkstar contest, remember Extra Life, and remember to give me your questions. We'll meet back here next week approximately at the same time. My name is Nick. This has been Board Game Brawl, and I'm reminding you to get out there and game every day and in every way. Take care.